Okay, so this is the day 21 review. We're sitting out on a big rock wall in Lewiston, Idaho, overlooking the Red Lobster and the closed Wendy's that closes their lobby at 8 o'clock. Who does that? Apparently they're short-handed, so they did let us order, but we had to leave and go pretend to be homeless people. So we've been eating on this rock wall about halfway up the hill that gets back to our hotel, smelling Ernie's Steakhouse, which smells really good but was really expensive. So anyway, good ride today. We started in Missoula, ran down to Lolo, hopped on 12, I guess it's Montana 12 and Idaho 12. It's called the Lolo Motorway. It's the paved highway that follows the river. It goes all the way across Lolo Pass, and eventually 100 and something miles, 150 miles later, I don't know, you drop out in Kooskia, and it's a really, really, really nice ride. If you look it up on the internet, it'll tell you that there's not a lot of places to pass, but actually there were quite a few places to pass, and there were pullouts, scenic overlooks and whatnot. And so it wasn't the traffic wasn't too bad. We got through there, had a good time. Sarah kind of hung back, turned off her communicator, and just had fun enjoying the scenery and riding by herself. There was a section of road that got kind of iffy because apparently they replaced a lot of culverts that go from the mountain side of the road to the river side of the road, and almost all these culverts were in corners. So we got lots of practice of diving to the inside of the corner, standing the bike up to cross the loose, nasty patchwork that they put in, and then lean it back over again to finish off the corner, sometimes 2 or 3 times in the same corner. So that got kind of fun, interesting. Sarah had one that she said kind of messed her up a little bit, made her go wide and offline, but she corrected and got it back under control, and then had to pull over for a little while and kind of do a mental reset, which is good. I've done that. I know Roger's done that. That Comb Wash Road in Utah, it was so ridiculously sandy. I don't know how. I almost fell down in every single corner for 20 miles. And that was the same thing. Got to have a mental reset. So anyway, saw lots of really cool scenery. Saw some really cool old trucks. Someone had a Chevy, Dodge, Ford collection of old trucks on the side of the road. They were just completely grown over in blackberry vines, which they were a little bit sour. They weren't quite sweet yet. They were, they had red and black, but still sour. And just took a bunch of pictures of those. Got to Kooskia and had a really good lunch at a little cafe in town. Decided it was early in the day and we didn't really want to stop there, so we went ahead and continued up 12 towards Orofino, and did not realize that Orofino is kind of a resort town apparently. So we got there and we were gonna check in on a Best Western, and the lady's like, yeah, we're booked. And I was like, well, is there any other thing in town? And the girl next to her leans over and is like, no, they're all booked. And it's also Labor Day weekend. So anyway, we decided the next nearest major town would be Lewiston, which was another 35, 40 miles up the road. And again, we're still following the river, so it was a beautiful ride, and the sun's coming down over the mountains and it's getting nice. The only bad thing there was a pretty long section right before Orofino where they had stripped the pavement off and left those grooves, that make your tire kind of wander all over the place, especially in the corners. It could get kind of squirmy feeling, wiggly feeling. I don't think Sarah's ever ridden that before. It's like, okay, just ride it like it's sand. Just let the bike wiggle, keep it between the lines, don't get stiff on the bars, So she did pretty good with that. Daniel, of course, didn't even, whatever. So, yeah, we eventually rolled into Lewiston. First thing you notice is the smell, which there's a huge mill on the river when you come into town. And I don't know what kind of mill it is, but the smell reminds me of the paper mills from Pasadena, Texas. Almost the exact same smell, and not great, but whatever. I'm sure if you live here you don't even notice it anymore, depending on which way the wind blows. But got in, found the Holiday Inn Express. It's kind of cool. It's up on the top of a big hill, and has a real neat deck right off the breakfast room that just looks out over the city. And you know, you look out over here, there's the whole city down below, river, mountains, you know, everything. It's kind of in a bowl on the hills. And once we finish sitting out here, which is really nice evening, I mean, it's, I don't know, 75 degrees, maybe, if that. Cool, dry breeze. Nothing like what we get at home, except for maybe a couple days in the spring, a couple days in the fall. And sitting on this big rock wall here, I don't know if you can see, giant rocks. Ate our Wendy's burger. Yeah, there we go. Watching the cars go by. Watched a big pack of like, I don't know, I call them fart cars, all the little, or rice burner cars, you know, whatever you want to call them, all the imports with the loud exhaust on them that like to rip from light to light. Must have been 15 of them going by a while ago. A few sport bikes, lots of big trucks, loud exhaust. And we're just sitting up here on top of the hill watching them all go by. We've been doing a lot of that the whole week, or last 2 weeks. Just, we need to have the little cards, like, you know, the gymnast people can hold up like 10, 9, 8, whatever, score them as they go by. But getting ready to head back up to the hotel and try to figure out what we're going to be doing for routes, because we're, you know, my original routes is like, okay, we're in the same basic area. We're not even remotely hitting the roads I'd planned on hitting, other than 12, which I'd planned on. And we were talking about going back on the, what they call the trail corridor, which is the dirt, Forest Service 500. But talked to a lady at the ranger station earlier today, and she said, you know, the getting up and getting down from the ridge is pretty steep and kind of technical. But the actual road itself, once you get up there, is not too bad, because they've actually done a lot of improvements. She said right now it's probably the best it's ever been, because they literally just finished doing a lot of improvements. Yeah, we figured we'd just stick to the pavement. So tomorrow I'm going to try to get us heading back northeast a little bit. I want to get up to the St. James River. There's a road that runs on both sides of the river. One side is I think a gravel / paved road, and then the other side is an old railroad bed that they've kind of turned into a dirt road. I don't think there's, you know, there's no rails or anything anymore, and you can cross back and forth over it at different places. So we're just going to follow that all the way back over into I think Montana, and then we'll start heading north towards Yak, the Yak River, a little town called Yak, Y-A-K, and be almost in Canada. I mean, we'll be real close to the Canadian border. Maybe camp in the woods there, head over towards Eureka, Montana, which is the last semi-major city before the Canadian border. And then we were thinking about heading into Glacier. There's a lot of construction going on the going to the highway, going to the Sun Highway. So I don't know if we'll try that or not, because I've been told it's kind of muddy and nasty, but we'll see. And then we're going to start turning south, you know, heading down towards Yellowstone through Butte in that direction. Try to cut through Yellowstone if we can, go over Chief Joseph Pass and Black Bear Pass, and then head out through Cody to a little town called Tinsley, where my buddy Justin got a nice little brewery. I don't know if he'll be there. I mean, his son's out racing right now in old KTM 450 or 530. I can't remember what he's got, but anyway, once we get done there, we'll start working our way back down through Pinedale and head over to the Tetons and Jackson, Wyoming, and then start dropping down into Colorado, maybe go to Moab, maybe rent a side-by-side and spin around there for a day or so that we can see some cool stuff that, you know, Sarah wouldn't want to ride her bike on. I wouldn't want to ride my bike on, especially that 1200 GS. You know, a 530 would be great, but not the GS. And then drop on down into Colorado and start heading towards, like, you know, Grand Junction and Montrose and Durango, Silverton, you know, Ouray, all that stuff. We're not going to do any of the Jeep passes. Those are pretty nasty. We might do Owl Creek Pass, and there's I can't remember the name of the road. It runs on the Uncompahgre Plateau west of Montrose, and it's a big, wide, graded, easy road. It was the last time I was on. I mean, there's people pulling their fifth wheel RVs down it and stuff like that, but it's really pretty, really scenic. So we might do that. And then I think it's Highway 141 or 145 that runs south from Gateway to Naturita. We might do that. That's a pretty cool ride. Goes through some really cool canyons where they used to do a lot of the uranium mining for the World War II, you know, for the atomic bombs. And then eventually we'll probably work our way back down towards Creed and Pagosa Springs and head on back to Farmington and start wrapping it up. Now, that all will probably take us, at the rate we're going, 3 weeks. I mean, we've been on the road now. This is day 21, so it's 3 weeks. We're not quite as far north as I had hoped to be. We're maybe 4 or 5 days behind because of all the stuff that's happened with the bikes and everything. But so far, the bikes are all holding up fairly well. You know, we got Daniel's exhaust fixed. Sarah's bike's not got any major issues other than a blinker that's zip tied out of place, but you know, whatever. It's been pretty cold camping, so that's kind of what we've been doing on some hotels. I mean, even with the hand warmers, you know, it gets pretty cold, even with the 20-degree sleeping bag. You know, I tell the kids, like, that 20-degree sleeping bag is not going to keep you warm. It'll keep you alive, but it's not going to keep you warm. So yeah, she's tired of being cold and likes having hot showers and hot tubs and all that. So I don't know. We'll see what goes on with the hotel versus camping thing. You know, we've even talked about shipping the camping stuff home, but it's so bulky and so heavy. It costs a lot of money to send it home. So I don't know what we'll do there. Anyway, that's a wrap for day 21. Really good day of riding, and we'll let you know what happens tomorrow. Bye.